Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to part 2 of how to write an LEQ response. In my class right now, we are currently in the midst of learning about the Enlightenment. Anybody that wants to watch this, it doesn't matter what historical period you're in or what historical topic you are on, this is really going to focus as a step 2 part of how to respond to a long essay question. If you remember in the preceding episode, we learned about how to write a proper introductory paragraph. So we're going to get into the contextualization part. Remember, the top bun of your essay is the thesis. We talked about how to set that up in 4 sentences, at broad topic sentences, and then three subcategories that are going to make up the composition of your essay, including the topic sentences. We also mentioned that, remember, those subcategories, we want to provide analysis that actually answers the question. So if you've forgotten that, check back to episode 1 of how to respond to a long essay question. And what we're going to go over today is in the middle part, the lettuce, the ketchup, the pickles, the onions, mustard, whatever you want on there, and it's your contextualization paragraph. Really, it's just a reminder of what else is in here. The meaty part of your essay will actually be your main body paragraphs, the actual topics, and then the final part, as you guys know, will be the conclusion. Again, cheesy, yes, but efficient and a good analogy. So, let's talk about this. What kind of ketchup? What kind of obviously it's Heinz 57. We're from Pittsburgh, but what do we need in the condiment section of your essay, or the condiment paragraph, or the contextualization paragraph? I guess the first thing we got to do is look at what's the purpose. Why do we need this? Look. First of all, I would answer that to provide a separate paragraph that provides background information for the essay. It's really important. Well, why is it important? Well, a big part of scoring well on this exam is demonstrating your ability to synthesize information and demonstrating your understanding of whatever the historical thinking concept that they're testing you on. In essence, what is the focus? What's the historical thinking concept, which is the focus of your essay? And as you know, you have causation, you have comparing or compare and contrast, you also have periodization, and lastly you have continuity and change over time. So, when we look at the essay that I asked you guys to come up with an introductory paragraph and a thesis statement for last night, which was analyze the factors that led to new ideas regarding society and human institutions that developed during the Enlightenment, that one is actually historical causation. So we get very complex about this, and I don't always like to do that, but the AP guidelines defines historical causation as being able to compare causes and or effects, including short-term and long-term effects. Students should be able to analyze and evaluate the interaction of multiple causes and or effects, and students should be able to assess the historical contingency by distinguishing among coincidence, causation, and correlation, as well as critiquing existing interpretations of cause and effect. Now, it's very worried. I don't want you to get frustrated by that. If you kind of pay attention in class, you're going to be able to do these things without thinking. But, let me give you an example. I'll give you an example that they give in the AP curriculum. That historians have long debated the causes of the French Revolution, which will actually be one of the next chapters that we go over. Like most historical events, major historical events, that revolution, the French Revolution, had multiple short and long-term causes. Long-term causes included the emergence and the spread of the Enlightenment, and institutions that questioned the justifications of traditional authority. Also a long-term cause was the growth of a middle class whose wealth was not matched by the political influence or their social status. Also a long-term cause was the financial mismanagement of the government resources, leading to unmanageable debt. In addition, the government experimented with some reforms, and there was a growing sentiment that the king was a man, just like any other person. So, basically what that means is people were starting to question absolutism as a valid or a legitimate form of government. Now, there were some short-term causes as well, which Some of them were the financial fallout from the French involvement in the American Revolution. There was also the influence of the American example, our Constitution. There were also economically some bad harvests leading to food shortages in 1788 and 1789. And then there was also a short-term cause that was the refusal of traditional elites to accept reforms to tax codes without calling for a meeting of the traditional representative institution of the country, which was their parliament or the Estates General. So, why do you need a contextualization paragraph? Well, because you get to set the tone. You get to talk about, an essay like the one I'm just describing, what it was like prior to the French Revolution. Go back into the Middle Ages, and you could talk about the corvée. You could talk about the three estates, the meetings of the Estates General. You can talk about how Louis XIV had not called the Estates General into session at all. He didn't use them. He basically made them useless. So you can really set up some of your long-term and short-term causes by really setting the tone and saying, hey, this is what was going on prior to and leading up to. This is how things started to change. Just to further emphasize this, if you kind of look here, this is an actual rubric that will be used to grade your essay. So if you look at the historical thinking skill, you're going to get 2 points for demonstrating your ability to show your mastery of causation. So did you describe causes and or effects of a historical development? And you're going to get another point if you're able to analyze specific examples that illustrate the causes and or effects. So you almost can take care of this in your causation paragraph, legitimately. And I like to get the telestrator out for this, of course. Today, I think I'm thinking blue. We'll pick blue. So you can already get a 1 here. Now, in your contextualization paragraph or in some of the main body paragraphs that you have, you'll get more specific. So hopefully you're going to be like this, and you'll get a 2. Now again, synthesis, you look at this as a very important thing. And you can get synthesis in many ways, but do you appropriately extend or modify the stated thesis or argument? Well, hopefully you do that, but do you draw on appropriate ideas and methods from different fields of inquiry and disciplines in support of the argument? And do you explicitly employ an additional appropriate category of analysis, that is political, economic, social, all those things, and does your argument appropriately connect the topic of the question to other historical periods, as it says right here? Hold on, somebody's at the door. So at the least, I'm thinking you'll be able to, if you do a good job with contextualization, and of course you have to still back this stuff up in your main body paragraph, but you're going to at least get the benefit of the doubt with this by linking historical periods. Start in the contextualization paragraph, and if you, and we'll talk about a conclusion later in the week, but if you kind of tie this into your conclusion, I really think you're going to be okay here with synthesis. So next you might be asking, all right, well, okay, Mr. Sig, I get it. This is for our own benefit. How do I set this up? Well, again, you want to start with a preceding event, movement, or time period, and explain the status quo. Okay? Again, why? Because time periods. Periodization, even though that's not the theme of this particular essay, they want to see that you understand the historical time periods, the movements, the eras, and that you can, use that to weave sort of and intertwine your entire essay. It means you understand the evolution of the process, the historical process. All right. So you want to start out with a preceding event. So you take the topic of the essay that you're being tested on, and you say, okay, now what happened prior? What were the causes? What was the era that preceded this particular topic, and how can I use that to show my understanding of the bigger picture of, again, if you look at Tom Ritchie and you read those or look at those, yes, he talks about the forest and the trees, and that's really what they're trying to see. Do you understand where this historical idea fits in the big picture of things? And you want to do that, and you want to use a contextual paragraph to help yourself set that up. So you start prior, okay? The second thing you want to do is you want to describe, okay, leading up to what historical, and again, this essay that we're working on now is the Enlightenment. So what was like life prior to the Enlightenment, and then what were the influences that started to change the status quo. Okay, and again, I have on this slide describe how the status quo was beginning to be challenged. All right, and again, you're going to have a live action photo edit here. Was beginning to change. I apologize for that. All right. So give a few causes that you can think of for a shift in the status quo. All right, and in the end, if you do that, you should have roughly, I mean, again, honestly, 4 sentences is perfect. Do you want to use dates? Absolutely. Do you want to use a few names or specific, causes of change? Absolutely. All right. You don't need to get all crazy in this and start explaining everything right here. You're just setting it up. Okay. This technically is still, probably like how most of you write in other classes, still part of your introduction. So think of it that way. You have your thesis paragraph, and then you have the contextualization paragraph. It's basically still the introduction to your essay. Okay, so your assignment tonight is to prepare a contextualization paragraph for the following prompt that we've been working on. Analyze the factors that led to new ideas regarding society and human institutions that developed during the Enlightened period. Thank you very much.